this week is different. This is Brian. It's my friend Brian Msafiri. I've never filmed a podcast before, but he's so filmable. So we had to do it. There's a cup filled with questions.
I don't know what the questions
are. Some of them are questions that I got from like a AI generator. So they're also random. Cool. My handwriting is questionable.
I'm shaking. I'm shaking.
You want to do the honors? You're the guest.
I will start just to know how hard these questions might be.
Okay.
So, for the first question.
Marushka.
What uncommon thing would you encourage everyone to try at once?
LSD.
Word, I knew you were going to say that.
Did you? It's not that hard to know that.
No.
Probably.
It's
just the first thing that came to mind.
And it's the one thing I don't think a lot of people have tried either.
It's true. I feel like it's not that uncommon, but then I suppose that truthfully it is for most people.
I feel like it also depends who your circle of friends are.
Yeah.
Or where you are before you try it. Because for example, I think now Nairobi has a very huge drug problem, but it's not in terms of hallucinogens.
Yeah. When I first came to Nairobi, there was no psychedelics anywhere. And then all of a sudden they just like popped up, just flowered like a wildflower and just spread everywhere.
But why acid?
Well, in short, I think that it makes you re-examine what you think is your identity in a way that can open up a possibility for you that's bigger than whatever was like potentially a very small, crammed in version of your identity that was just given to you by society or that you just developed out of habit.
Okay. I really enjoyed my first acid experience because I didn't even plan on taking it.
And it went well.
Yeah, the first time I took acid was in Kilifi.
Remember that New Year's? Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's the first time I ever took acid. Whenever I take it, it just gives me more perspective as to the things I thought matter and whether or not they do actually matter. It's like a nice way to have closure or open your mind to other options that you didn't think were possible. Take a step back and just be like, wow, there's so much life everywhere and so much color, and why am I so fixated with this one other thing or idea when there's so much more you could
it's definitely like an expander of perspectives. But it's amazing that you didn't plan it and your first experience wasn't like traumatic, because oftentimes when people don't plan their first experience and it's like not around the right people or it's not in the right setting, like that can really PSA. My recommendation is if you do try LSD, good people, right dosage, and a great setting.
I have a thing when I was on acid. It was like I can only be in one place for 30 seconds. if I don't like this conversation, I am gone.
That's so true, and that's why I recommend actually that people try it, because it teaches you that in your day-to-day life, it's actually helpful for you to be more in tune with like, is this actually making me happy? Does this actually resonate with me?
I was having moments when I was tripping and I lost the people I was with. Like the tribe, right? And then when you lose them, it's about finding them, because no one else
like
understands how high you are, and only they can. You can only be high together. I haven't taken much since. So have you? When's the last time you took?
When's the last time I took acid? I think maybe like 6 months ago. Or something. I usually take acid like a couple of times a year.
Yeah,
it's like a seasonal reset.
It's like a prescription.
Yeah,
like a mental prescription.
Like an internal retreat. Yeah,
that's nice.
Okay, my turn.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. What do you know how to do that's useless?
What do I know to do that's useless? I mean, useless, like it doesn't.
Well, it's
do
kind of
anything.
up for interpretation, right? Like, I mean, different people would think different things are useless. So I guess there's some freedom in that question.
I can croak like a frog.
Can you really?
That didn't come out so well.Maybe good. Oh wait. Oh no. Okay, wait. Let me think about something else. What do I know to do that's useless?
It's kind of a weird question. I can like unwrap a Starburst with just my mouth. Like I can put a Starburst in my mouth and then just take just the wrapper out.
Wow.
I mean, it's a little useful, but it's not like of the highest value.
That's useless. I mean, if you give me a pen, I can make the sound of a car. Like
sound of a car?
Like those tattoos, like the ones that have like an exhaust, like
with a pen? I remember getting trolled by all of my like male friends growing up because like when you're doing fighting with action figures and stuff like that, I only had like pew pew, and they were like, that's one thing. Like you need the punching sound, you need the firing sound.
What's
like,
funny is that like as no, not those ones. The top.
Someone tried to bring a pen. He's like, oh no, these don't fit my pen specifications.
Funny you mentioned. I feel like we haven't even addressed why we polarize kids to have girls play with dolls and guys to play with guns.
Oh yeah, I did. Like, my mom went, no, I used to rip the heads off Barbies. I was not.
I'm always wondering, why is it every kid has a toy gun? You know, like it's.
Yeah, I don't think I had a toy gun, but I had toy swords, and I had my dad made me use like real swords when I was little.
Oh wow!
Like, and I learned how to like throw knives when I was small.
Okay.
My sister learned how to.
Do you hear that?
Like, don't upset her. Yeah, no, but I don't think I ever had like girl toys like that.
I grew up.
It's pretty fucked up if you think about it developmentally. It's like boys are given like blocks and things to like build things and like challenge their minds, and girls are just given dolls to like take care of.
Yeah, it's funny because
which is fine, but it's like it's pretty narrow.
It's weird because I've seen different kids do different things. Yeah. Like I saw this other video on Twitter about these 3 kids who built like a swing set, which is they put like the wood in the middle, and then they put like ropes and attached it to them, and then they just started like swinging. They ran, and then they just started flying. I don't know. There's a lot of physics behind it. That sounds like a hazard.
Okay, your turn.
All right.
Next question.
Do you have any memories before the age of 5?
Okay, so this is actually an interesting question because for a long time I didn't. Okay. So I have something or have had something or it's kind of questionable, but there is a condition called dissociative identity disorder, known as DID. Okay. And if you have some sort of trauma in your life, usually when you're small, your brain can like shelve a whole chunk of time in order to kind of like help you survive, because it knows when you're small, like that you don't have the faculties to deal with it. Okay. So it can like store it, but most people say like the brain actually remembers everything, but it can just temporarily forget things. So they also call it dissociative amnesia, because you literally don't remember. So like I used to just have a huge kind of like black chunk that was until the age of about 6. Yeah. And then I would have like little bits and stuff. And it was actually when I took psychedelics that like stuff started opening up, which is also why I say people should be really careful when they take psychedelics, because I didn't know that so much. Yeah. So like I'm grateful because I wouldn't take it back, but I could have done it better, if that makes sense. So like my doors were like blown open instead of like opening a window and like just peeking in. Like mine was like all fucked up.
Knocking on the door.
Yeah, mine was like everything. So now I have a lot more memories, but it's actually because I had like some super crazy trauma until the age of like 6 that I had blocked out. But I also do have some interesting, like my mom said, I don't know, like if you believe in like past lives or parallel realities or whatever.
I think I do.
You think
actually.
You do?
Yeah, I think I do.
Because some people are like, no, not at all.
I'm always thinking about the cycle of life. Like, what if you wake up and you're an ant, like an ant on the floor? You know, like you can't communicate that, but your brain capacity can't even fathom the idea that you're maybe human. You know, what if you were a whale? You're just gonna be a whale.
Yeah, I feel like once you've taken LSD, it's usually not that weird to believe in like other realities.
And there've been documented cases of reincarnation too. So
yes, there are some crazy cases where little kids like report very specific details of being.
This Indian lady who came back and was like, "Yo, this is not my home."
Yeah.
And then the dad was like, "What do you mean this is like?" When she grew up, like the dad was like, "What do you mean this is not your home?" And constantly she kept saying like, "Yo, you guys are not my family." Yeah. So the dad ended up doing some digging on what she was saying, and then ended up going to the family she mentioned, and then found out the mom died in that other family, and then They were like, okay, cool. Then she told that family to come to his house. And then as soon as the kid saw them, was like, yo, this is my daughter. And started saying all these like crazy memories about this other family. And then shit was just fucked up. I was like, so wait, what happens then? Like, you're my daughter. Like, are you gonna go be a mom somewhere?
Well, so there are literally like practitioners. And actually I started recovering my memories and like integrating my healing by working with a practitioner, because there are people that are super skilled at like kind of like taking your narrative and helping you like fill in gaps. Anyway, your turn.
My turn.
Your turn.
Da-da-da-da-da. When was the last memorable sunrise you witnessed?
That's a good question.
The last memorable
when
sunrise?
Was the last
I've
one you
witnessed
had?
so many.
Yeah.
But there's one specifically that I really like. I think I was maybe 16? No, 17. 17. Yes. No. It's probably 19. Yeah, 19. Because I was not a virgin then.
Some marker in time.
Yeah, there's a marker in time. Like 18.
First kiss is somewhere around 7, the ring coat.
So
and
by the time I got to that,
by the time
I got to the story, I was like, something happened that night, so I was definitely not a virgin. But then in the morning, because I couldn't sleep, I went down to the beach. You could take like a walk all the way down from the villa, and then the beach was so clean, no one was there, and it was at the end of a creek, so like there's no one coming either. And I walked down by myself. I got naked. Then the sun was coming up, and the water was so warm. Like
it was such an epic.
It's like a short time the ocean gets warm. It's like the sun was coming up. It was like hues of pink before.
Wow.
Sober, by the way.
Yeah, no, I mean when you're sober and a good sunrise, like you don't need anything,
which is so nice.
That's like shortcut LSD.
It's like, sheesh.
I know. Okay, my turn.
All right.
There's so many good ones in here, by the way. I feel like we're gonna have to do a part 2 because like I want to answer. Two came out. Okay, let's see.
Okay.
If you could assign one household chore to someone else, what would it be?
Laundry. If there's no washing machine, washing. Just that's the worst thing. Like, I could mop easy. I could mop. I love doing things with my hands, guys. I mean, even when at the house,
can you do dishes?
Yes.
Let me tell you why this is hilarious. I have assigned one household chore in my life to someone else, and it's the dishes.
I love dishes.
I can't fucking do Funk will do literally every single dish in the house, and I will like cook every meal. I will wash clothes by hand if the washing machine is broken. I don't care. I hate sweeping, but I'll do it. But I hate the dishes.
I love washing my hands.
I know.
I feel people don't like washing dishes because of how icky it is. You know, I feel like people don't like washing dishes.
No, there's all that shit that gets stuck in the drain.
I don't mind.
Slimy. Oh. Okay, your turn.
Okay, cool. I'm not gonna pick the one at the
I was
top.
Gonna say, aren't you gonna dig a little bit
and then
leave
put
it
that
up
one
to
back,
chance?
and then how often do you find yourself daydreaming?
That's an interesting question, because I think that I find myself trying to stop myself from daydreaming more often than letting myself daydream.
Really?
Yes, because I think like being an artist, where like if you're an indie artist and you end up doing so many things, it's like I have my daydreams, and then when I'm like, all right, cool, I want to make that happen, then I go into like a taskmaster mode where it's like I start to become like more of a producer than like the artist. So like the artist gets like hours carved out where like during these hours you get to like dream and like melt into these thoughts, but then all the other parts of my day become about like time management, like responding to emails and whatever, which isn't necessarily good. I don't think it's, I mean, I'm trying to get better at the balance where I can like, you know, like Einstein said that like all of his most like groundbreaking theories and discoveries came from daydreaming. So I feel like maybe I have like more like that old school parental like thing inside me where I feel like I'm always supposed to be like grinding or like taking care of things or whatever, but I also think it's kind of good. So like I would say I probably, as a natural state, I'm a huge daydreamer. But I think I probably only really let myself daydream like in the morning and like before I go to sleep at night, I allocate my daydreams, but I don't know how I feel
There's
about
a schedule.
it.
There's a
schedule to my daydreams.
I don't know. I love daydreaming, but it's more. I think I enjoy daydreaming in terms of projects, right? So
kind of like focused daydreaming.
Yeah, it's like I picture so many different elements about a certain project I would like to do.
So like you visualize details.
I visualize everything, and then I plan it in my mind, and I look at all the loopholes because I'm such a pessimist also. Like,
so you're a little bit like me. Like we don't sound like we're grade A daydreamers.
I'm
we're
like,
not like really out here floating in the stream.
No,
we're kind of like
and if I'm not daydreaming, I'm thinking about all the bad decisions I made up until that point. I'm like, shit, I should have probably. And this is why I don't. It's
like self-critical daydream. Oh, me too. By the way, actually,
I smoke a joint. I used to smoke a joint, and like my whole personality just goes south. I'm daydreaming in my mind. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, maybe I should have done this. Maybe I should do this, or maybe I should just go to the fridge and see if there's still food. there's like so many maybes, and then there's this bad habit of always going to open the fridge. If I knew where your fridge was, I would definitely just go and open it. I just have this bad habit. It's like if there's one, I hope there's this question, but I know there's one wish I wish I could have is if I open a fridge, there's food. There's what I want.
That's exactly what you want. Exactly like a Harry Potter fridge. But, so like you just open
if
it.
If anyone is like, gonna make a fridge that fills itself,
that's fire.
If Amazon is listening to this, Jeff Bezos, think about that. Make a fridge that fills up with food.
I've seen some technology in China that's pretty much almost right about there. Where like with a drop of water and a wish, you could probably. I'm serious. I've seen them make like a head of lettuce from like water and a drop. So it might be on the way in your lifetime.
About that fridge, like it's a life and death situation. Imagine a hangover, right? And you're there daydreaming about food. You're there daydreaming about like
that fridge for me would be like a major problem.
Yeah,
I mean like a major cholesterol, heart attack, like cardiac arrest.
And then there are modes like diet mode. There's more like
you can't
junk mode.
Once you set the mode like on diet mode, you
like
can't
emotional
get the
mode,
shit you
heartbreak where there's just ice cream in there. You know, there's like different modes. This is so fire.
This is a good example of a daydream. I feel like
see
that's a focus. Like we had a topic and then we fell into the rabbit hole of it.
I just daydreamed about a fridge that has food.
It's a good. It's a good one though.
That's a good daydream. That's a daydream with the idea of how to do it. The way I explain it, like if I'm daydreaming about a project, I'm looking at all the loopholes and the way to have this product.
You just need like a team of now like maybe like technology billionaires, experts, some billionaires, and maybe like some magical elves and fairies.
It's mad. If I could be one thing, is an architect.
Me too, by the way. That was like the when other kids are like a pilot or whatever. For me, it was like if I could have been an architect, that would have been my shit.
Architecture is so beautiful. Like it's my dad's an engineer, so like he builds.
That's really fire.
Yeah, he builds like buildings, and like he used to take me as a kid to work, which was like site visits to all the like major skyscrapers in Nairobi at the moment, like the I&M building.
That's wild.
Yeah, and it was so funny because I had my first experience with vertigo when I was standing next to it.
Really?
Like
when
you're that high and you're like and I don't know. I say it the wrong way sometimes, but when I'm that high up, I'm always so tempted to jump.
No, I know what you mean. I love heights. So like some people think that's really strange because it's not like you're like tempted to jump. I'm tempted to like I want to end my life.
Yeah,
There's
but
just something about the idea of free falling through space.
Falling.
That sounds amazing.
Which have you bungee jumped before?
I haven't. I have always wanted to skydive. It's massive. Like I would go tomorrow if I had the time and the money, which I plan to do because it's actually not that expensive.
I mean, they
in
closed,
Nairobi.
They
like
closed
I know.
Closed it, though.
Forever?
The one in Diani?
Really?
Yeah.
Forever? What about Watamu? Oh, something happened. Don't tell me.
They closed it.
Jesus Christ. Anyway,
when someone says that something happened and it's skydiving,
you're like, I don't want to know.
What could happen? Well,
I don't want to know. Yeah. Well, I feel like if you skydive over water, is it better or worse?
No, because it's even ignorant. It's so bad because that's why.
Sounds better.
That's why it's so funny because I remember I used to be such a nice swimmer as a kid. Now,
what happened?
My lungs.
Oh.
No, things are different. You know, when you used to run as a kid and you're so athletic.
Running is so different now, by the way.
Hey,
like running
like,
is like,
guys, please.
It's like,
I might look young, but my expertise in
running.
sport is in other things.
Wow.
Not running. So, yeah, even you remember when people dive in the water and then they just like you do it with your stomach. That shit is
belly
painful.
flopping.
So you can't tell me skydiving.
Yeah,
and then
no, I mean you can definitely
water.
still snap your
You
neck
die
in the water
because-
wrong.
Yeah, you snap your neck. You pass out. You know, you ever been slapped? Your ears lose balance and then just like pass the fuck out.
I'm skydiving. I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
But bungee jumping, there's something about the whiplashing of the cord that doesn't do it for me.
Oh yeah.
Like it's the.
What about
like,
zip lining? Like
yeah, that's like so not the same.
This one,
I
know,
fine.
but
Like, it's not
zip
even
line. No, I mean like
comparable.
zip lining. Like have you seen that zip line where you go head first? Not the one you hold. Like, you know, they give you the whole thing. On
Oh,
the
like
chest.
a harness.
Yeah, not the one with the harness. Where you're obviously on a harness, but this one you have like a helmet and you head first, like a rocket.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I would love that shit. There was this ride at Six Flags when I was young that's like fake bungee jumping where you're in like a body harness. It's like a slingshot basically.
Yeah.
But you're just like on a thing basically and you just get
fun.
pulled back. Yeah, it's fun.
It's fine.
So fun. But bungee jumping scares me a little bit. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I'm always like extreme sport is for a most. I'm not an extreme sport person. Hey, I'm like, nah, bro. Woof.
I feel like I really would be like but I'm not. I wish I was, but I'm not. Like I wish I was brave enough to free climb and shit like that because I get the thrill.
Yeah.
But then I'm not strong enough to deal with the injury. Like I'm not like my desire for thrill exceeds my capacity to deal with
see these
the consequences.
Have you seen these
That's what
photos
I'm
on
saying.
Instagram of people who like do like handstands on cliffs?
I might be that kind of person. Yeah. I could be that kind of person. I have definitely done handstands on like big buildings or something with friends being like, but only in the direction where you know the handstand, if you were to fall, you'd fall the opposite way.
Yeah, I'm not doing any of that. My mom would not. My mom is afraid of a lot of different things. And she's afraid
I think
of snakes.
losing children is like pretty much the number one thing.
Yeah, but
parents are afraid of.
even when she sees other people doing things, she's always like she'd hold me like this.
Freaked
She's
out.
like,
I'm that way
like,
too.
What
yeah.
is this? You know, what are you doing? Like, are you not in fear of your life? You know, But hey, I admire people who do crazy shit. I really do. It's entertaining. Just don't die.
Yeah.
Just don't die for likes or clout.
For likes. No, hopefully if you're like free climbing, it's because like in your soul,
do you know
you
that
just like
there was a
want to
time
free
the highest
climb, not
number
for
of
the
deaths
gram.
were from selfies. Guys taking selfies.
Outside.
Guys.
Imagine the
climbing
people dying like no
towers and being like with their selfie
waste.
sticks, just like this and that. And you're gone.
That's hard. Imagine that in your next life as a child, you're like trying to tell your parent that story,
Yeah.
like your reincarnation.
And this
but
is
it's, like,
years
so
after the selfie
embarrassing.
stick is expired.
Yeah, you're like, I was trying
I
to take a picture with the selfie stick, and your parents are like, no, this kid is crazy. Send them to the institution.
It's mad.
That's rough. Okay.
All right.
Okay. What is something that you don't mind waiting for?
Food.
Mind
Wait.
waiting
Yes. I take that back. I take that back. Wow,
really
wow.
mind.
No, I take that back. Something I don't mind waiting for. Actually, I am. That's a tough one.
Are you an impatient person?
I am. If I feel like, first of all, if I follow the guidelines of, I walk
like
in
you've
somewhere,
done all the things.
I've done
so
everything
the thing should be
nicely.
here.
Like I'm here politely asking for something,
Yeah.
or I'm expecting service after I've waited in line. Like the other day, some old lady came up to me. Right, I was gonna go buy some meds at the chemist. Right.
Yeah.
And she came up. She saw there was a line. Right, and she came in front of the line and then looked at like whether there was space to go. Right, and there are people there, so she's just checking, and then she left this chemist and went to another chemist, right, to check if it was also filled, because it's like a line of chemists. She checked, so she
was like
disappeared for a
hawking
bit. Yeah, she's trying to see what place she can go to, and then she came
I know
back.
that game.
And then she stood in front of me.
Oh, she like took her spot back.
Yeah, she wasn't even
she
at
just
that
straight
spot.
up cut you.
Yeah, she just straight up cut me. And
it's
then,
hard to get mad at an old lady doing
I
what
was
she
there. I
wants.
was like, wait, first of all, you went and checked out whether
something?
your options. You know the thing is,
did you say something?
I did. The thing was, she went and checked out whether or not there was space. She went to another chemist to see whether or not she could get some. I saw her whole game. And I'm not a bad guy. I'm like, yo, if you're old and you're tired and I
just be like, let me cut. I'm tired.
I can let you
exactly. It's true.
But when you do that whole thing, like you're checking out where you can exercise your privilege, and then you just come and do it without asking me. Yeah. And then you come and ask me, and then the thing about lines and cutting lines is everyone sees you doing it. And it's always about who speaks first.
I know. Everyone's looking at everyone else like,
is anyone going to say anything?
Who's going to say it?
Who's going to say it first?
Who's going to do it?
And trust me, I'm that guy.
I'm also usually always that person.
And then as soon as you start talking, that's when everyone comes back. It's like, yeah,
unite.
Hey, unite.
Tough day.
But it was
so the answer is that you don't wait. You mind waiting for everything.
No.
Is the answer.
I don't mind waiting for sex though.
That's what I was gonna say too.
Yeah,
I feel like that's because the wait is like part of.
I don't want
it's like worth.
I mean, back in the day.
I mean, depending on how you wait for it.
Yeah, back in the day when you had to like throw a game and throw a game and throw a game and throw a game and hopefully work out a day. Like, you know, the days when my mom used to go to work or my dad used to go to work and have like a short window. It used to be so bad because, you know, you've told the shorty, come tomorrow in the morning. She comes at like I don't know 3 p.m. My mom's supposed to be there in like an hour.
It's too late.
I'm also like, are you fucking serious? Like, what am I going to do now? Like, we just rather chill here because I'm not about to get caught, and I've never been caught having sex by any of my parents.
I have.
I was so close to getting caught. I was shaking.
I have the worst getting caught sex story ever.
Yeah.
Shall I share it with you?
Yeah,
it's
please
really
do.
worth sharing.
Please do.
It's very like it's like one for people to write into scripts. So if you ever take this story and write it into a script, I hope the movie is good because I would love to watch it played back one day instead of having to be inside of it.
Just get the permission to do it.
So yeah, please like DM me at least. Like, we could write that shit together. Right. So I was 16 and my boyfriend was like 18, so he's like a senior, I'm like a sophomore. And my parents are like really chill because I was like super crazy and wily from like 13 to 15. Like really bad, like really bad. So then by the time I was 16, I was like, you know, I'm gonna have like a boyfriend and whatever. So my parents were like way more relaxed than probably most parents, but it's because we'd already been like over the deep end and now they knew I was like back. What I mean by that is I was allowed to like my boyfriend would stay over, like we were that kind of, you know, like we had like our own.
You had it easy.
Yeah, I was lucky, but it's only because I risked my life so stupidly. Like I fought in a very bad way for the rights that I then won. But anyway, so I had like a door, like a wing kind of, you know, it's like a hallway and your bedroom's at the end of the hallway. So we'd be like, okay, we're going into the room or whatever. My parents just wouldn't like that. You know, it's like they always would knock before the bedroom. It's like down the hallway they knock. Yeah, like hello, you know, exactly. So once my stepfather's mother was in town, and she is a very like kind of like a energetically high strung woman, and she was also focusing very much at that time on being sober, which was sometimes a challenge throughout her life. So she came, my parents left the house and she was in the house with us, and I was like, okay, like we're gonna go take a nap. So me and my boyfriend went to go like take a nap. And like I was so used to my life that I forgot to lock the door. And then like, so basically like homie and I are naked. So this is my door to my room. And my bed is like this. So I'm like this with my legs like this. Homie is facing me this way. He's like poised, like his dick is here.
There to open your chakras.
There's a small space in between like his dick and like my pelvis, and I can just see the door open, and our eyes lock. Her eyes and my eyes, and I was like, you know, there's no words. There's like no sound even that comes out. And she also has like Parkinson's a little bit. So she just started shaking and like fell backwards and screamed. She was like, ah! And like screamed and fell backwards.
Crazy.
And then like I tried to like get myself together to go out and like apologize, but she just left. Like she just left the house, and then they didn't even know where she went. So like my parents came back and she was like gone. I think I might have been the reason that she started drinking again. I don't know, guys. It was really bad.
It's the same as like seeing you like running into your parents when they have.
Yeah, I only ever heard my parents having sex once, but I never had to see anything.
I was so surprised when my mom
even the hearing
got pregnant with my brother.
Traumatic.
I was like, you guys did it in this house when
while I was
asleep. And then, you know, my assumption of sex was like, it has to be loud. You know, like, it has to be, like...
You didn't know yet.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
But when my mom was pregnant, I was like, you guys did it in the house? You know, it was
There's a hilarious meme my sister sent me that's like a kid being like, Mom, how did kids get here? How did I get here? And then it's like the mom's thought bubble is like a stork carrying and a baby. But then the other bubble, which is her memory, is like her like with a pillow in her mouth, like crying. I was like, oh, it's so real.
That's funny.
Jeez.
Funny.
I'ma show you some more on the other side. On the other side. On the other side. On the other side. This podcast is a safe space for the misfits, the rebels, the madmen, the geniuses. We see you.